Hello and welcome to episode 3 of 2025 Asia International Tropical Plants Expo held in Yunnan, China on 19th to 21st September 2025. In the first episode, we covered the aroid group, which includes the Monstera, Anthurium, Philodendron, and Alocasia. In the second episode, we toured non-aroids such as begonias, desert plants, bromeliads, hoyas, and more. I hope you can catch all 3 episodes to get the full picture of China's thriving ornamental plant industry. Many of our Western friends will be shocked to know that the Platycerium is actually trending number 1 in China now. Many gorgeous cultivars have appeared thanks to extensive breeding programs in Asia. While their plant care is highly misunderstood and require advanced parenting skills, they're actually not the hardest plant to grow. If your floors, tables, and shelves are full of plants already, why not fill your bare walls with Platyceriums? I hope this episode inspires you to grow some, and let's begin.
So we are at Mr. Kunzo's booth, and that's him in person. And this is his work, and I'm really amazed he put this all together. Getting the material is extremely difficult here in China, and then because of the safety regulation, there are a lot of things we couldn't achieve. But look at this. This is pretty amazing. It took some manpower to climb all the way up there. And what's happened with Kunzo's exhibition is that he tends to incorporate Western and Eastern elements, as in Asian elements. These are like bamboo, and it's got that driftwood, sort of the ikebana touch to it, but using plants that are largely from South America. So the Anthuriums and of course the Telangias are from South America. So it's beautiful. So the centerpiece is what we're seeing in the middle, and then this is islands that accompany. And I really love Kunzo's stonework and moss work. And in China, they're now flaunting a huge diversity of caladiums. And they all look a different one from another. They're grown well. There's so much diversity. We stopped by some caladium farms, and it's just so amazing to see them in work here. And then down here is for some beautiful orchids cascading down. Look at these wonderful views of the Florida beauty. Even it's just one plant, but he's managed to have them grown like this. And over there you see this whole row of tillandsia. These are actually conjoined tillandsia. This is not one plant, but they're twined to look like one entity. How freaking insane is that? It takes so much imagination. And earlier on, we were giving a talk show, and Kunzo said that he had an original plan, and a lot of them could not come into fruition. So he had to make do with what we have. And for those of you who don't know, Kunzo is an ikabanais, and also he's a hunter and grower. Feel free to check out the episode. I've got some episodes up on his nursery and his ikebana work in Osaka. So, yeah, and this is him.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We are going to be looking at Platycerium now. This is one that Irene said was a deer head, but I corrected her. This is actually a dragon's head, but it's really, really whimsical the way they arranged this. I guess this is a good time to let you guys know that there are more Platycerium booths in this exhibition than any others, including Anthurium. And the Chinese actually have only started with the Platycerium about 3 years ago. So they bought up a lot of the wonderful Platyceriums from Japan, Taiwan, and Indonesia. And now they have all this. They've started their selective breeding process, and they started propagating. A lot of these were incredibly rare and expensive years ago. They're starting to come down in price, but then it's still a pretty good investment. A lot of people are still buying them for investment. And they do put off pups on the side, like that one over there. And it does take them a while to get to this size. From a big sporling to a decent sized plant like that, maybe it'll take like 3 to 4 years. And so this is a very slow growing plant that the Chinese have managed to grow extremely well and extremely fast and scale up production within a short period of time, which is really, really wonderful. Honestly speaking, the industry is moving really fast with the Platycerium. It's impossible for a beginner and for a generalist like me to keep track of the trend, but I really love the forms. I love to see them in these shows, and they're becoming more and more diverse and more interesting and more exaggerated. Even from here, you can see that some of them actually come up like a crown, and some of them cascade down. Some of them are a little bit crested. Some of them are compact, and some of them have really, really beautiful fronds that come down. And of course, the shield fronds are important. And here in China, and maybe in Japan and Taiwan, the dried shield frond here is part of the charm for the Platyceriums. Oh my gosh, this here is my favorite booth. So I was told that this is a tissue culture lab, so they're trying to make a lot of plants or rare plants and popular plants mass-produced and available for everyone. This, I believe, is the fern section with some Platyceriums cascading down, some of these mounted ferns on here, some crested aspleniums. And this here is two-faced. By the time this episode airs, their episode would have come out. So we did a nursery tour over here, and they showed us some of the interesting products here and a little bit about the care tips and a little glimpse into one of the nurseries here in... Hello, ni hao. They are incredibly swarmed and busy, but again, we will have an episode here by the time this episode airs, so you'll see some of their Platyceriums in their nursery. But I'm in their way, so I need to get out of here. But just to quickly show you, the booths are actually really beautifully set up. And all of the Platycerium sellers here have their own identity, their own branding, and their way of growing plants. And I believe the Chinese are in it for the long run for the Platyceriums. Now, a lot of booths are actually selling their sporelings, and when I say sporelings, I mean this. So Platycerium has also come into tissue culture. So when you buy this, it's important to ask if it's a offshoot or a pup, or if it's a tissue culture, or if it's a sporling. It makes a whole lot of difference. When if it's sporling, the behavior of the baby will not be like the mother at all. It will be very varied one from another. If it's tissue culture, it should be somewhat uniform. And if it's a pup, then it will be an exact clone of the parent. And for your information, this is a Willingke jewel sporling. I know little about this plant, but this is beautiful, and it's a 199 for one at this size. Yeah, this is also 199 for the nano. I believe I featured this on the channel maybe 2 years ago in Taiwan, and it was super expensive at the time, but it's now become rather affordable. This store is Jazz Ferns. I think they might be from Taiwan, but if you look at this, it's really pretty. The mother plant. This is the Wanda high finger sporling. When I read this, it's telling me this is probably a select of a species or a mutated form of a species, Platycerium wandai, and the babies actually look like this. So a lot of people are buying them small because one, it's very difficult to transport a big plant. Number two, it does take them a while to get them to a certain size. And number three, it's just way more affordable to grow them from a small size. And I think another benefit of guiding them in a small size like this is that they can adapt much easier to your living environment. If you're bought a Platycerium at a mature size, it's used to its previous living condition. So this is one way that you can enjoy it. And of course, a lot of us, we enjoy having to enjoy the whole growth stage of the Platycerium from a baby like this into something larger. And one more thing, Platycerium does mutate, or it does adapt to the environment that you give it. So these are actually their trichomes, and my theory is that when it's colder, they do put out more trichomes, but someone can correct me on the comment section. Here are some more examples of established plants. Again, a lot of new products are coming in every week. It's moving really fast. So for someone who's just getting started with Platycerium, one, it's a good time to get in because you have so many choices and a lot of them are becoming affordable. But number two, it can be rather intimidating because you don't know what to start with. So the best thing to do is just browse around and maybe ask the sellers and start with like the super basic Platycerium. And for that, I recommend the Platycerium bifurcatum. Just a common one. It's for me, it's incredibly inexpensive, easy to care for, and it's. I think I got mine for around 100,000 Indonesian rupiah for a mature size one. And for some people, these curly fronds on the Platycerium is highly prized, and they're finding mutations with even more and more curls. Honestly, I find that they're quite beautiful, and they add such a nice feminine touch or a soft touch to the garden or to your collection. They're discovering quite a lot of mutation. They're saying that they're growing thousands and thousands of sporelings, and then some of these just grow into something magnificent like this. I think it is safe to say that the Platycerium industry here is just taking off. I thought that they have peaked at some point, but they're still finding these wonderful, wonderful mutations. And this one is 1 million RMB for your information. Beautiful. It's a dwarf form. It's already reached maturity, and that might be the pup. So that they explained to me that when I was small, they actually looked very, very common. And out of the thousands of siblings, only one showed up like this. Fascinating. This is 500,000 RMB, and this is beautiful. And I love that it's perched on a log like this. This is incredibly stunning. It looks like coral, living art. This is 480 RMB for a Platycerium. And like events like this is really wonderful because it brings so many people together. In China, the community is pretty spread out because everybody's largely online. So like an offline event like this, where people interact with not just the plants but with each other, is quite amazing. And I particularly love old ladies here because you know that they have growing experience, and now they're seeing a lot of these plants, these tropical plants, exotic plants, almost for the first time, I would say, because in their lifetime, the concept of houseplants is so different from it is today. Oh, and I love her hat. In case you're curious to know what baby Platyceriums look like, there you go. This is so cute. So these are all the mother plants, and the little babies are sold here. So really, really interesting. I wonder if they're selling it by the tray or if they're selling individuals. I have a feeling if they put it like this, it's sold by the tray. But it's really fascinating to see what the baby plants look like. And that over there is what Platyceriums look like if you give it a few more years. This is another Platycerium booth, and I love the gallery style display that they have. It's so, so beautiful. And I want to remind you guys, it does take them a while to get to this size. I'm gonna just select a random one. This is pretty interesting. 16,800 RMB, and it looks like that. It's got a really, really interesting form, and it's even got a pup coming along the way. I believe that whenever a pup shows up on these, the price does go up quite a bit. So these are all individually different plants, different mutations, different forms. So you can imagine just within China itself, there are maybe, I don't know, tens of thousands of different forms to choose from. It can be rather overwhelming. Look at these neat rows of Platyceriums. They're just quite nice to look at. That one there actually stood out to me. If you look at the front, it does look like it's trying to do this. Like lots of little hands reaching up to the sky. I must say that there's something sexy about Platycerium against stainless steel. It's just such a wonderful contrast because there's a little bit of silver that comes off from the Platycerium, and usually that moss gives it that soft, natural touch, and then you nail it to something very sterile and cold, like the stainless steel. It's just a wonderful contrast. So this Platycerium here is 13 years old, and it is a very popular photo spot for people. There's like a line of people trying to take pictures, so we won't get in the way, but it is rather large. So this is an ant plant, also very popular in Japan, and it does have a sensibility that I think the Chinese will appreciate as well. Look at this one here. Unfortunately for these Indonesian plants, they're not really appreciated in their home country, but they're very much grown well and appreciated overseas. And what's fascinating in China, because this is a manufacturing hub, so they have a lot of capability to produce these kinds of trinkets. They do elevate the lifestyle and the interest. And I find this so incredibly beautiful. Look at how dramatic that is. It really does look like an art exhibition, doesn't it? And when it comes to Platycerium, the mound is probably just as important as the inhabitants. They look really nice on those wood, but there's so many myriad of boards and planks that they can be mounted on. I really am loving this version. This one here is so adorable. Look at that. There's so many forms and mutations. I mean, I guess at some point it might even be redundant to know the names. I mean, when there's so many mutations out in the market, I think people just find the forms they like. And when these guys come into stock, because believe me, a lot of growers are growing them out, I think there will be one for everyone. And also I think that the name, the individual plants might potentially become redundant. That is my best prediction of the Platycerium in the upcoming months or years. And look at that one there. If you see that behind the ground, it looks incredibly beautiful. That's actually the spores. I love that beautiful pearl that it has. The waves and the spores hanging off it. It's actually a pretty beautiful plant. Wow. And for your information, I'm actually breathing past the Platyceriums. Although I'm showing you quite a lot, I'm only showing you the ones that happen to catch my eye. Very quick moments that I'm browsing through these because we're a bit running out of time. Irene and I, we have another talk show later. It's beautiful. See what I mean earlier when I said that the dried fronds or the crown is just as beautiful as the living one. Everyone's taking pictures. They're so inspired by all this. I don't think many of these people have seen anything quite like it, and neither have I. I've seen Platyceriums, but I really haven't seen them in full display like this. This is quite wonderful. One more time, just to gently remind you guys that the Chinese people have only entered the Platycerium market in the last 2 or 3 years. They've only become popular in recent times. And to have achieved this, that's pretty amazing milestone. And I think we'll expect more as the years go by. This one here is wonderful form as well. I mean, every single one of them has something beautiful in them. That over there, that's probably a Ridleyi type mutation. It looks like a Ridley, but it's a little bit more protruded and a little bit more compact. And Ridley is one that is pretty difficult to grow. I really love the smile on people's faces when they caught a good photo. It's quite wonderful. I love not only looking at plants in these shows, but I loved watching how people interact with the plants. All right, thank you so much for watching this all the way to the very end. Please leave a comment down below to let me know which plant stood out to you the most here. Stay subscribed, send this video a like, and if you want to help the channel out further, please. And just by you watching this all the way to the very end really helps me out a lot. Sorry, it's like super busy over here. Actually, this is one of the quietest spots in the whole exhibition hall.
Thank you so much for watching this all the way to the very end. I'm curious what you think of the Platyceriums. Please write some comment down below to let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, you might probably like the last 2 episodes covering the aroids and non-aroids. I've done hundreds of these shows before, so don't forget to scroll through my channel catalog to see if there are any that you might have missed. Should you wish to contribute financially to the channel for as small as a cup of coffee a month, you may do so on Patreon at patreon.com/SeanFromOnlyplants. Or you may join as a YouTube member. Simply click on the join button next to my channel icon. I want to thank those of you who have contributed so far. You're helping my mission to educate and inspire growers worldwide. On your way out, I ask that you hit that like button, comment something down below, even if it's just an emoji. This is so that we can win the YouTube algorithm together. Alright, I'm gonna let you go for real this time. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!